Don't leave, you're the only one who came. Those were the words that would stay with her forever. They weren't part of some movie, nor whispered in the rain. They came from a man sitting across from her at a cafe table, his hand trembling slightly as he reached for his coffee, his eyes full of something she hadn't seen in years. Truth.it had all started as a joke among her colleagues. You're too serious, Elena. Go on a blind date, loosen up for once. They had laughed, and she, the CEO of one of the country's fastest-growing companies, had reluctantly agreed. She thought it would be 10 minutes of polite conversation and then back to her world of deadlines, mergers, and solitude. But when she walked into that small cafe and saw him, wearing a faded blue shirt, sleeves rolled to the elbows, a shy smile on his face, something inside her still. He stood up as she approached, his hand slightly awkward as if unsure whether to shake hers or wave. Hi, I'm Liam, he said, his voice warm, deep, but laced with a strange nervousness. Elena, she replied, sliding into the chair opposite him. At first, it was exactly as she expected, small talk, hesitant laughs, two strangers testing the water. But there was a quiet gentleness about him, a calm that didn't feel forced. He didn't seem impressed by her status, didn't ask about her company or her cars. Instead, he asked her about the last time she took a walk without a phone in her hand. She had to stop and think, probably, years, she admitted. He smiled softly. You should. The world looks kinder when it's not behind a screen. They spoke for an hour, and then another. But when her phone buzzed with an urgent call, she excused herself, ready to leave. That's when he said it. Those words that hit her like a whisper straight to the soul. Don't leave, he said quietly. You're the only one who came. She froze. What do you mean? He looked down, ashamed. It was supposed to be a joke. My friends, they set up this blind date profile for me months ago. Every match either canceled or didn't show up. I thought it was funny at first, then kind of sad. I stopped expecting anyone to actually come. Elena sat back down. For the first time in years, she didn't care about the time or the emails piling up. She just looked at him, really looked. The faint tiredness under his eyes, the way his hands were rough, like someone who worked too hard and slept too little. Why did you keep waiting? She asked softly. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Because sometimes, hope is the only thing that makes the day worth waking up for. It wasn't until their third meeting that she learned about his daughter. Her name was Ava, 6 years old, with curls that refused to be tamed and a laugh that could light up a room. Liam was a single father, raising her alone after his wife passed away during childbirth. He didn't complain, didn't ask for sympathy. He spoke about his daughter like she was the whole world, and maybe she was. One evening, when Elena visited their small apartment, Ava ran straight into her arms as if she'd known her forever. Daddy says you're nice, Ava said proudly, her little fingers clutching Elena's hand. It had been so long since someone had touched Elena with that kind of pure, unguarded affection that she almost forgot how it felt. She smiled, blinking back a sudden wave of emotion. Daddy's right, she whispered. I am. That night, when Ava fell asleep on the couch, Liam made tea and they sat on the balcony. Why me, Elena? He asked. You could have anyone. You're you. She looked at him for a long time before answering. Because you're the first person in years who made me feel like just me. Not a CEO. Not a leader. Just a person. Liam looked away, struggling to speak. Sometimes, I feel like I'm not enough for Ava. Like she deserves more than a man who's still figuring things out. Elena reached across the small table and took his hand. She doesn't need perfect, Liam. She needs love. And she already has that. For the first time in a long time, they both smiled without pretending. But life has its way of testing what the heart wants to believe. A few weeks later, a news story broke. Elena's company was being accused of corporate malpractice. It wasn't her fault, her partner had manipulated funds without her knowledge. Still, headlines were ruthless. CEO involved in scandal. Luxury before loyalty. The fall of a star. Within days, investors pulled out. Friends stopped calling. Even people she had trusted turned their backs. She wanted to hide, to vanish into the noise. But one night, there was a knock on her door. It was Liam. He looked at her like nothing had changed. No judgment, no questions, just quiet understanding. Why are you here? She asked, her voice breaking. You shouldn't be. Everyone's walking away. He stepped closer, his voice steady. I'm not everyone. Something inside her shattered and healed all at once. She broke down, years of pressure pouring out as he held her, saying nothing, because sometimes, silence is the loudest kind of love. Over the next few months, she fought to rebuild. Liam stood beside her through it all, helping her draft statements late at night, cooking meals when she forgot to eat, and bringing Ava to her office to fill it with laughter again. And then, when the dust settled, when truth finally came out and her name was cleared, she realized what she had gained was far more precious than what she had lost. Months later, on a quiet evening at that same cafe where it all began, she sat across from Liam again. Only this time, Ava sat between them, coloring a picture of 3 stick figures holding hands. Is that us? Elena asked with a smile. Ava nodded. You're in the middle, because Daddy says you hold us together. Elena looked at Liam, her heart swelling with a warmth she hadn't known before. I was thinking, he began, a little nervously, maybe we should make it official. No blind dates, no waiting. Just us. She reached across the table, taking his hand, the same way he once took hers when she was the one trembling. Don't leave, she whispered, smiling through tears. You're the only one who ever truly came. And this time, they didn't need promises carved in stone or fireworks in the sky. Just 3 hearts, quietly choosing each other in a world that too often forgets what love really means, because sometimes, the most beautiful stories begin when you finally stop running from what's real and hold on to the one who stayed.